Hello, I'm Elizabeth Wislar. I'm the costume designer for Romeo and Juliet here at the American Shakespeare Center. I found out about costume design as an undergraduate student, and so I had a work-study job in the costume shop, and that's where I learned that costumes were even something that was possible. I think it's a really wonderful challenge here because the set is static. It's the permanent fixture of the building, and so you have to really kind of run around within that boundary to tell where we are, who we are, what we are, why, all those things. And so it's a really good challenge to have, that you have to really help deliver through visuals of costumes all of that additional information. I believe that everything we need already exists. We just have to be really creative in how we source it. The materials that we use are found or upcycled or repurposed from other items or past productions, as well as using other found items that already pre-exist in different costume stocks around the area. I also would like to find a way that we can have more sustainability with regards to the labor and the talent that we have, and so reallocating materials budgets into more sustainable and livable wages, and that's a way of honoring people over possessions. The world of the Playhouse involves a lot of the natural wood, the burgundy upholstery on all of the seating and chairs, and then also looking at the paint that's been done on the Playhouse. So working with those colors and then with those beautiful tapestries that line the walls, I thought, well, if that's the world of this play, then how can we make that part of the costume design and have it influence a contemporary retake of this? And so the sweatshirt I made this for the play, and I made it out of a lot of tapestry-like fabrics, and so it could feel part of that kind of tapestry surround, but in a contemporary, updated world. And so a hoodie is very recognizable as something that we still wear today, but I wanted it to be specific to this world and specific to the character of Romeo. But the performer playing Romeo also plays an auxiliary role in Two Gentlemen of Verona. And so whenever the real dog isn't able to go on stage, the actor is playing Crab the dog in the Two Gentlemen of Verona. And so I had this needlepoint of a dog that I put on there too, just for fun, just to kind of make a little nod towards this performer also playing a dog in the next show. But there's a moment in the play where the director, knowing that I was doing this, that I was making garments to match the tapestries, has the performer hiding, the actor, as their character, kind of hiding on stage, and they hide by turning their back into one of the tapestries. And it's really funny because if you don't see that moment, the actor truly disappears. Like he's completely gone, and it's really funny to think of disguising somebody in a tapestry. And so I thought it was a really clever way in which the director kind of played on some of the fun I was having with the materials for the garments. So part of that means that there's an aesthetic for the Capulets and an aesthetic for the Montagues. And so the Capulets are more of a preppy, more in the blue and teal world, wearing varsity jackets. And so we're thinking of them as being in high school, the ones that are kind of the captains of all the different sports teams. And then the Montagues are more, I said this in an early meeting about them being the people that have their name or go to all the art openings, or they have their name on the museums, they're donating the wing and the collection. So they're more of like artsy, the art money, whereas the Capulets I thought was more of like kind of pharmaceutical money. So, just to kind of put them as ways in which they might, in a contemporary society, have kind of a coexistence, but also this feud goes back so long that most people don't remember why they're even fighting, but they have positions of power because of their financial wealth within this world. And so the Montagues all have this kind of artsy, flared tapestry, kind of shredded look. And so Lord Montague's wearing a custom suit that we built that has the same kind of shreddy upholstery look as well. And so Romeo's pants matches his dad's, and the dad's two-piece is an orange kind of tapestry print piece. And so they're in the warm tones for that. And these are for Benvolio, and they were custom made here by the costume shop. And they're wonderful because they're this tapestry print, but they are an exact kind of copy or replica of a wide leg pant that was really common and popular in the early 2000s. Contemporary clothing comes with more of that need to have multiples to try on, as well as sneakers and shoes, other things like that. And so a theater like American Shakespeare Center that's been around for a while but has been working predominantly in a historical context won't necessarily have the last 20 years of fashion just sitting in their stock. And so it also means that the audience connects with the characters that they see on stage, and they can see if you're wrong. And so if you've made choices about a character that they are like, wow, that character reminds me a lot of my aunt, and my aunt would never wear that, and so you're more likely to be wrong. And so it's harder to get it right, to really get that character right. And also to meet all the needs of comfort and everything within a contemporary clothing. A lot of that influence comes from the music industry, and it comes from, at that time, early influencers online. And so a lot of the imagery that we now had access to through just widespread internet use. And so looking back, we found the Juicy Couture tracksuits were really popular in bright, fun colors. As well, there was other things that we ended up not putting on stage because it wasn't like an UGG boot with the fur lining. They're wonderful, but they're not great to spend a lot of time in with that kind of physical activity for 3 months. But the tracksuit made me rethink branding on stage, and so if we were going to go with a lot of the popular brand names like Juicy and UGG and Adidas, and were we going to do that, or did we want to kind of rebrand to the world of the play? And that's how I came up with the idea to have Juliet emblazoned on the back instead of Juicy. The Juliet was placed onto the back by Amy Monsalve in the costume shop here at American Shakespeare Center. Definitely what I would call a labor-intensive situation. But labor well spent, because I think it's a pretty great kind of surprise the first time Juliet turns her back to the audience. And then the tracksuit actually I found online on Poshmark, which is a current site for kind of thrifting online. And so you can't always find everything locally. So that's one of the resources that we have for finding gently used garments. We just had these little fun things that we could do, and it allowed us to get away from major corporation branding, which is, not who we are on stage. And so get into the world of the play. And so reframing the context of the early 2000s, but within the branding that would come from the Capulets and the Montagues, like what these two powerful families would put out if they were actually in charge of that kind of branding that was happening. I did ask the cast if they had any quotes or anything that they'd like to see on the costumes, because we were replacing all of the branding and all of the graphic kind of t-shirt print with things that were very specific to this world. And so the actor came up with a line that he says, "I do but keep the peace." And he thought that would be something that he would actually wear on him. And so we put this on the back of his jacket. And so this is worn by the character of Benvolio with these pants. And so it's a nice set, puts him right up in the world with Romeo, and also allows the performer to have this quote that was really important. And actually, he's saying it, and then he actually has his back to the audience for quite a bit after he says it. And so it just kind of keeps visually reverberating that line. The actor asked to have the sleeves cut off of it. He wanted to have something a little more punk about him. And so I was like, well, we can take the leather jacket that everybody else is wearing, we can cut the sleeves off of it. And that's how we can give you kind of an edge. but also a little more freedom in movement in the fighting sequences and stuff. So it serves multiple purposes, but it was originally asked for to just kind of give that character a slightly different take on the same idea. But they all do have these letters, like initials, made on the back, and so all of the Capulets, when they're on stage, and especially in those big fight sequences where we're trying to keep track of who everybody is, I put their names on their back. So it would just help. I know that we're doing a lot of student matinees, and also I just, as an adult, sometimes it helps to have a name tag. Be like, who is that again? Oh, why is it important, you know, that what's happening right now that we need to, you know, so it helps. We can't always do a name on stage, but in a contemporary context, it's very easy to get names on stage on actors' costumes. It's much harder in a period piece. Not everybody walks around with their name on them. But it's a little more common now, especially at the high school level. Thank you for this time together looking at the world of costumes for Romeo and Juliet. Make sure to catch our fall season on stage at the Blackfriars Theater in Staunton, Virginia.